Pokemon, and then probably right after that, Pomp and Circumstance, and then National Anthem. So Shay, for sure you're going to stand up for those last ones. Okay?
I'll have the music for this song as soon as I get here.
Just be your very best. Catch the note. Hey, get there a little early if you want to see. 10 o'clock. When do you guys ready to 10 after 10 maybe? Okay, so I'll be there at 9:45. Huh? One, two, one, two, strut real quick?
Let's go.
I only have the second
If you
part.
don't know this part, then you know just lay out or whatever. But
I only have part second part. But
no, I can do that. 2, 1, 3, and.
Yeah, I think we did it once.
I keep hearing my name being called. I know. I'm calling you.
Okay, we're gonna hear one measure of drums. Okay, it's gonna be da 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 dee da 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 dee da da, and then that's measure 2. You guys go with that? You have your first measure of rest, and Shay will play da 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 dee da 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 dee da da. Okay, then you guys come in right at bar 2. 1, 2, drums start, ready, go. Circumstance, and right after that, it's going to be Star Spangled Banner. Grab water right now if you think you're going to need it. You have about 30 seconds.
So we're going to play National Anthem after combat circumstance?
Yo, Mr. Burnett, it looks like it's going to rain.
If it is going to rain, we will protect the electric instruments, okay?
What about the Crook instruments?
Yes, put it in your case at least. Okay, if it starts raining, we'll totally do that.
Mr. Burnett, do you have more Clippies?
Okay, we're getting ready to play Pop in Circumstance. We hold on Rush. Okay, it's nice and mellow, and we'll start with the drum roll. Shay, we need water.
Okay, it's okay. How cheap was this water? Just a question.
It actually costs more than the water itself.
Yeah, Yeah, that's what I thought.
If at any time you guys have to use the restroom, that's after we explain, we're just kind of sitting around forever. Just get up and you can go. You don't have to ask me, okay? It's right around the corner. Everybody clear on that? You don't have to ask me, just go and grab the bathroom if you need it, okay?
You're paying a move.
Just take off the shades, you guys. It's now nighttime. Looks a little weird, I think.
Nah, I think
Really cool, Abby.
I know. That's
Everyone's gonna know that I'm crying now.
If you have to wear shades, I guess it's okay. You just that's fine. Here, can I wear mine too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll make you look
It
more
looks very
swag.
professional. Yeah.
Okay, now the match row.
For that bathroom, I look like a lame.
And then it's gonna be right here. Just nice and steady, okay? Not too fast.
That's my money.
After all, they really haven't very much.
I should be wearing my robe, I guess. I'm not gonna wear it. I just
It'll be fluttering in the wind. It'll look awesome.
actually no. Give us 4 months.
It doesn't matter.
Why do the different teachers have different roles?
Yeah. He starts walking into
Oh, like I saw one of them like man technical.
Yeah, she.
I could take that one back up, but I'm gonna remember to take it on.
We should do that. The teacher.
Say, hey, mommy, where are you going?
Sometimes I think it's on. He's just like,
We're ready, guys. Make sure you have your phone silenced. I just silenced mine. It'll be really quiet in here once we play the national anthem. Is everybody ready for that?
One down there, and then they just.
I'm sorry, I feel like
Okay. They're coming out. I didn't want you to walk in front of them.
Hey. I'll just play the wrong notes to signify it.
no more balloons.
Okay, as soon as we get done with pomp and circumstance, then that's your cue to get up national anthem pretty much right away after that, guys, okay? Because it's going to be like maybe 1 or 2 words, and then boom, right into national anthem after pomp and circumstance.
yeah. So wait, like after 20 minutes of pomp and circumstance.
Your guys smell like we can take care of them, right? Wait, are you not allowed to? During this, you're allowed to leave the right? Sorry. Yeah, you don't have to go that way.
If we start stuttering, we'll be fine.
You better be on time. I don't want to lose your. I'm not going to say like the last 22 minutes on the last. I'm not going to announce the last 22 to start.
We're just gonna start getting in the door.
Okay. Nice big long drum roll. Here we go. get out the national anthem.
Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors
National anthem. Let's
by
go.
our
We'll have it up.
NJROTC.
What's up?
All right, thank you. You may be seated.
Fabulous job, clarinet. Fabulous job.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2022 Crook County graduation. We are glad to be back at the Ward Roden Stadium for the first time in 3 years. I would like to introduce to you the guests who are joining me on the stage this evening. Superintendent Dr. Sarah Johnson, Pioneer Principal Pete Goodrich, and our guest speaker this evening, Crook County High School teacher Aaron Rosh. I would also like to recognize 3 of our staff members today who will be retiring at the end of this school year. Kim McBride has worked for the district for 15 years, most recently as a special education teacher at the Crook County High School. Karen Gernert has been with Crook County School District for 21 years as an instructional assistant, and Dan Krawczyk has served for the Crook County School District for 22 years, both as a teacher and a coach. Please join me in recognizing these 3 outstanding employees that we're going to miss. Thank you all so much for the time and dedication that you've given to the students of Crook County. We will miss you, and we are excited to see what your next chapter holds. This evening, we're starting a new tradition at Crook County School District. As you can see, our arrangement is a little bit different this evening. To the right, we have some of our district employees and board members, and they have been helping our students get to where they are today by supporting them through their high school and K through 12 experience. So thank you to our board and administrators and our staff along the back for serving these students. And to my right, you will see some of our participants from our community that are elected officials, some of our leaders from the community, and they are here to welcome our students as they leave our educational system and they walk into being active community members. And we look forward to seeing what you guys do to help join these people in leading Crook County to be even a bigger, better place, because you guys are going to be actively involved in the community. So these are your future, or your past leaders to your future leaders. So thank you guys for joining us tonight, and this is your class of 2022. On behalf of our staff and graduates, I would like to take this time to say thank you to the parents of the class of 2022. Without you, we would not be here today. Thank you for the love and support that you've shown not only to the graduates, but to the staff of Crook County School District. We thank you for not only standing along beside us, but for allowing us to teach your children. So thank you, parents. And lastly, to the Crook County staff, thank you is not enough. I am thankful for the care and compassion that you show our students and families every day. You never give up on our students. As you can see, with a graduating class of 252, through a pandemic, the staff did not give up on these kids. They tracked them down, they helped carry them through, they did online lessons, they got them back into the building as soon as they possibly could, because they love you, they want you to be here, and I thank the staff for showing the support to these students to help get them here today. So staff, thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Crook County High School Athletic Director and Assistant Principal, Mr. Rob Bonner.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. It's my honor every year to announce and present a distinguished alumni from Crook County High School. And tonight it's Mr. Steve Forrester. Mr. Forrester, could you please come on up here? Steve Forrester was born in 1960 and is a fourth-generation Crook County Prineville resident. Steve's family has lived in Crook County Prineville since the late 1800s, now 5 generations. Mr. Forrester's grandmother's parents homesteaded on the Crooked River, and grandfather Forrester came to America from England, landing on Ellis Island, New York, and working his way west to Prineville. Steve's father was a 1939 graduate of Crook County and served in the Army Air Corps in World War II. Steve's mother came to Prineville from Missouri and graduated from Crook County High School in 1951. Steve attended Crooked River Grade School, Prineville Junior High, and graduated from Crook County High School in 1978. During the summer, he worked in sawmills and in the woods to put himself through college with the help of scholarships. He graduated from COCC and OSU with degrees in business and forest products. Next, he spent 25 years in the forest product industry. He served as general manager of Crown Pacific. He was the Oregon manager for American Pine Products and then Wood Grain. During his time in the forest products industry, Steve conducted business across the United States, as well as Europe, South America, Russia, and Asia. Steve and his wife, Kim, invested in our community and are very proud to be longtime business owners and farmers in Prineville. In 2009, Mr. Forrester became the Prineville City Manager. He brought to this role expertise in domestic and international business and servant leadership, experiences which critically helped the community build a bridge out of the recession and revitalized our economy, infrastructure, and existing industries. Mr. Forrester strongly supported Crook County farmers when he testified in front of Congress in Washington, D.C. for the Crooked River Water Act. Additionally, he worked hard to help create avenues for current and new investors in Prineville, including Meta, Facebook, and Apple. I recently sat down with Steve to learn more about his personal journey and what he credits his success to. Steve spoke about the growth and the positive things he sees happening in our community. He said to me, "Look around. Our community is full of individuals who have had diverse experiences and then came back for the betterment of their hometown." Steve spoke about the importance of leaving your hometown and experiencing relationships with different people, cultures, ways of life. Always maintain your connection with your town, then come back. As Mr. Forrester does, he turned the attention to people in our community who have experienced life and then brought those experiences back to better our community. Steve referenced the following. Bruce Scanlon, a college football player and quarterback of the 1984 state champion Cowboys. Go Cowboys. That's right. He was teacher and then Ochoco Irrigation District Manager. He talked about Seth Crawford. Seth spent summers farming at Grandpa's farm in Central Oregon. He stayed connected to Prineville and is now the county judge. Brian Barney, a generational rancher farmer. Brian graduated from CCHS. He was a Deschutes County Sheriff's Deputy and current county commissioner. Jerry Brummer grew up in Post, a rancher, worked in sawmills, is a cattleman, was a public works superintendent, and is now a county commissioner. Steve pointed out that all of these people served and are serving on numerous boards and committees. They have vast experiences and are using those experiences to better our community. Mr. Forrester's message was all about giving back to your community, and Steve has definitely done that. Throughout all of his accomplishments, Mr. Forrester says his biggest success is his family, including his marriage with Kim and 4 children raised in Prineville. He believes that both Prineville and CCHS provided their children with life skills for success. Steve's message to the class of 2022 is, Prineville and CCHS provided a great foundation to build your life upon, no matter where you go or what you do in the years ahead. This town, this school, is part of who you are. Take full advantage and embrace the challenge ahead. You are ready. Congratulations, class of 2022. That's right. Please join me in congratulating Steve Forrester as the 2022 Crook County High School Distinguished Alumni. So to the community, I say, if you know a graduate of CCHS that you feel is a distinguished alumni, please go onto the district website and submit a nomination form. We would love to look at that and get more people on the list. So thank you so much. Congratulations.
I would now like to introduce the CCHS choir as they join us to sing A Million Dreams. And now I'd like to introduce to you Assistant Principal Jake Huffman to the stand to recognize some students.
Good evening. I get the honor to honor the class of 2022 and some very notable accomplishments. So first, let's honor the top 10%. I'm going to read your name, and then you're going to go ahead and stand up. Bryn Anderson, Meredith Cooper, Braden Duke, Natalia Froloff, Josephine Kasperger, Josh Knight, Kendall Maycutt, Abigail McNary, Kyler Michael, Daniel Olson, Emily Stovall, Hannah Reese, Drew Street, Nevaeh Tiger, Logan Webster, McCall Woodward. Let's give him a hand. Go ahead and be seated. Next, if we could, those serving in a military branch, please stand. We'll give you a quick recognition. Daniel and Nathaniel, let's give them a hand. Next, those that maintained a 3.5 GPA or better through high school. You have a medal, you should know. Thank you. Next, we're going to recognize the honors diploma completers. So for an honors diploma, have to earn 26 credits, including 6 credits of capstone classes, have to maintain a 3.5, have to have C's or better in honor courses, and have 2 full credits of a second language. And those students are Marvella Alonzo Reyes, Abigail McNary, Bryn Anderson, Kyler Michael, Braden Bartline, Lindsay Mode, Emma Barnes, Daniel Olson, Andrew Barrett. You guys can all stand and stay up. Come on. Follow directions. I've lost my spot. Andrew Barrett twice. Lauren Papke, Tucker Bonner, Savannah Pence, Grace Brooks, Hannah Reese, Mason Calhoun, Marcus Reed, Matney Cooley, Caden Ritter, Meredith Cooper, Dakota Robideau, Emma Daniels, Maddie Simmons, Caitlin Davis, Natalie Stefanik, Braden Duke, Emily Stovall, Aurora Duran, Drew Street, Bailey Everest, Jordan Street, Natalia Froloff, Mallory Thompson, Cole Haynes, Charity Tomsoff, Josephine Kasperger, Nevaeh Tiger, Josh Knight, Brenton Voss, Lily Lopez, Van Williams, Kara Mankey, Elizabeth Woodward, and Kendall Maycutt. Congratulations, have a seat. Next, if we could, we're going to honor the program completers for CTE. Those are the ones with the teal cord. Go ahead and stand up. These students all completed their program of study in career and technical education. Great job. And last, all students that were Crook County School District students K through 12. Congratulations. Now I will introduce to you our valedictorians, Meredith Cooper and Braden Duke. And going first, these guys are great, but Josie's going first. Josie Kasperger, our salutatorian. Sorry, it's on the program.
Hi, guys. I would first like to say we did it, seniors. Roughly 2,340 days of our lives were spent in school leading up to this moment. For all those late nights, stressing over finals, and countless tears shed over Mr. Williams and Booster's homework assignments, we get the great gifts of a piece of paper and a sweaty handshake. Oh, and hearing Rosh give a speech. I'm kidding, mostly. What these countless days and endless homework assignments have given us weren't the knowledge, it was the memories. The laughs over almost killing Rosh in a marker duel, or the screaming our heads off in various student sections over the years. We aren't going to remember what a quadratic formula is or how to ask for orange juice in Spanish. High school has gifted us with experiencing friendships, relationships, hardships, laughter, tears, and stress. Mostly stress. As much as it hurts to say, sitting through those hard classes and being frustrated with teachers has shaped us a little bit. It has shaped us, but not just a little bit. The walls that have enclosed us for the past 13 years have directly influenced the people we are today and created the amazing human beings before me. So thank you to everyone who had a hand in us as a class. You guys have molded and shaped us to be amazing people. Every place I looked up online said to define a word and to make it the theme of your speech. Me, being me, really struggled to settle on just one word, so I chose randomly, settling with the word cinematic. Its descriptive definition is a scene where the world slows down and everything seems to fall into place. For example, this moment is a bit cinematic. This is our big moment where everything in the world is about us and we get to finally move on in our lives. So, we get to start writing our own stories. Writing our own stories is about slowing down, enjoying every moment we have with the people we love. Giving you a piece of my story, right around this time last year, I remember receiving the news that my dad was diagnosed with cancer. While this wasn't the first time that cancer has surfaced in my family, it was definitely unexpected and abrupt, causing me to suddenly realize that I had taken all of the laughs and time together for granted. That I was so stressed and caught up with school that I no longer took the time to go out to breakfast every Sunday or to go out to lunch together, just us. So, this opened my eyes to the moments and memories I missed out on the relationships I didn't prioritize because I just assumed they would always be there. So slow down. Prioritize the things that really matter and worry about the rest later. I started to live life in the moment, enjoying the teams I was on and the people I was with. I worked hard to support those around me and make all the experiences in my life ones I wouldn't regret. We control our narratives from now on. As we go on to write our own stories, make it something that in 2052, at our 30-year class reunion, you're proud to tell your classmates. That you've worked hard and made an impact in any way you want. That you used your time here on this earth to make your mark. As we move on to our lives, you're going to make mistakes, have to backtrack and start all over again. There's nothing wrong with realizing you might have been wrong. Our lives are full of what ifs and if only I hads, so live your life living those what ifs and going and doing. Because when you do decide to start over, begin again, you're only making your story better, adding more depth, twists, and turns. So write your own story, live your own life. Because today is the first day of this chapter in your life. You get to choose, you get to make mistakes, and you get to slow down. And the best part is, you can erase it as many times as you like and start living your life all over again. So as we move forward, I hope I get to see each and every one of you take your time to embrace your surroundings and realize that the life you are living is cinematic. But now, as we part our ways and go down different paths, I wish every single one of you the best as you make your mark on this world. And don't worry, when I'm rich and famous, I will remember where I came from and each and every one of you that I grew up with. Thank you.
I'm gonna struggle here for just a moment. I'm stalling. Okay. Valedictorian was never something I strived for. It was something my older sister was known for, and in elementary school I thought, sure, that sounds cool. But I know there are so many other exceedingly bright students out in my class whom I never thought I'd academically pass. The truth is, I probably didn't. I'm here in front of you today because I was given the means to be. I was gifted a supportive family who gives me time to do homework, study for tests, and puts academics above all else. I was given a home life that didn't demand I go to school and then work until midnight just to feed my siblings. I have parents with steady jobs who don't rely on my income, and I have future plans because I was able to work and then put my earnings into a savings account. Don't get me wrong, I worked hard to be here, but there were so many other factors at play. So instead of talking about my life and everything that led me here, I like to discuss the people who should also be standing up here. I will not name specifics for privacy's sake, and I would like to inform you that I was given permission to share these stories. I gave each of these students access to this speech and granted them the liberty to change what they did and did not want. But everything that's left is an accurate and raw representation of our student struggle to stay afloat. I want to start with a story told to me recently by one of my close classmates. I hope to do them justice, but I ask that you all, and them especially, give a little grace. Our teachers, from the time we were little, told our parents that this class was special. It has been remarked on numerous occasions how much of a family we act towards one another, how much we rely on and support each other. What some of those teachers may not have realized is that this class is the only important family some of us have. These are the only people who will live with no judgment, love unconditionally, and give their 100% support in every decision made. The person I want to discuss is a good example of why our class is so special. This person, we'll call them Jessie, is no different from any other teenager in this world. They want love, affection, support, kindness, and basic human decency. But for much of their high school career, that wasn't given through family. Jessie comes from the type of family you would expect out of a small town. Conservative, stubborn, and appearance-driven. Don't get me wrong, there are many good facets to families in small towns, such as support in a tough time, an extra family outside of blood relations, and the promise that you are not alone. But Jessie was not raised in this small town, and therefore they were not gifted these benefits. They had to face the consequences of being new and trying to fit in. You must distinguish yourself in the first week of being here, or you will fade to the background. You must let the people know if you will be the quiet kid in the back of the class who keeps to themselves, or the stereotypical popular jock who sits in the middle of the room and loudly announces that this is all stupid. Jessie decided to insert themselves as neither. They became the kind of know-it-all who probably has the IQ of a genius, but won't tell you you're stupid or look at you differently for answering a question wrong. They are more likely to educate than ridicule you. Jessie should be standing up here right now, not me, but there are quite a few circumstances that prevented them from doing so. You remember that family I discussed earlier, the one belonging to Jessie? That family is a big reason as to why they aren't standing here in front of you. When Jessie was struggling with their identity, instead of reaching out a helping hand or providing a safe space, their family rejected them, called them crazy, gaslit them, did pretty much everything that any good therapist would tell you to avoid. The degradation, the belittling, the toxicity of the family got to such a low point that Jesse felt their only release was physical harm. They battled with depression, they fought wars with anxiety, they would win small victories and lose giant progress. Jesse was struggling to find themselves in a world that seemed all it wanted to do was drown them, and they finally had enough. They put their foot down and they took a stance. They were no longer going to hide who they were. They came out to their friends, they came out to the class, and they finally did the scariest thing of all and came out to their family. As many of you can imagine, this did not end well. Countless beatings took place because apparently physical violence is the only way to turn someone straight. The depression got worse because Jesse felt they were a disappointment to those around them. The self-harm reached all new highs. Jesse no longer felt the will to live. They didn't have anything to live for, yet they kept moving. Multiple attempts on their own life later, and many years of unbreakable friendships, Jesse came to the conclusion that it's okay to be yourself. It is, in fact, easy to be you when you aren't surrounded by the wrong people. Jesse got a job, moved out of their house, paid their own way, and announced to the world that they were out and they were proud. Because there is nothing wrong with knowing who you are and living to please yourself. They found a family in our class, they found a family in their work crew, and they found happiness where previously there was none. Another typical remark that has been made about our class is the resiliency we have. Our class has survived a pandemic, lived through the losses of many great community and family members, and put up with the constant struggle of what it is to just live. We have all worked so hard to be where we're at, all 252 of us, and I think this can be perfectly demonstrated through yet another difficult story shared with me. This classmate was in elementary school, arguably the most formative years of a kid's life, the news was broken to them that their mom had a life-threatening disease. Their mom, who had been the heart and soul of the family for so many long years. Their mom, who was always the strong one, always the one to run to when things got hard, and always the fighter. Their mom was about to start on the longest journey of her life. For the purpose of this story, we'll name this main character Charlie. When I was trying to put this speech to paper, I asked Charlie if they would be willing to give me a portion of their life story to share with you all. And what they gave me was something that was hard to digest, but so important to hear. Here's how it went. When I was in 4th grade, my family was faced with our first big adversity. My mom was diagnosed with stage 3C breast cancer. That was a difficult time for both her and our family. She was low on energy, low on motivation, and just lacking her usual vibrancy. I remember going into my mom's room after school, and instead of offering to talk and play with me, all she ever wanted to do was lay down and rest. Of course, I knew she was going through a traumatic experience, but I wanted my mom back. I wanted the woman who would chase after me and play tag, the woman who would make me hot chocolate after a long day of working outside, the woman who was always around whenever I needed her. But her body was fighting itself, and I couldn't do much. The one thing I found that she did well, however, was reading. So I put on my glasses and I read. I read her any and everything I could get my grubby little hands on. The words from my homework, my fictional book, a book she wanted to read but didn't have the energy to. It didn't matter because that became the way I connected with her. It was my way of telling her, you've still got this, I know you're strong, and I'll be with you every step of the way. Eventually, my mom would end up asleep, and I would try to be as motionless as possible. I was told constantly how important it was that her body shut down for just a bit to recuperate. So I became good at maneuvering my body away just enough so as to not wake her up, but allowing myself enough space to lie down next to her and hear her breathe, to reassure myself that my mama was still there. Eventually, through a lot of intensive chemotherapy, my mom was cleared of her nasty disease and sent on her way to live her life. We were overjoyed at this information, thinking we had now seen the worst, but we were all wrong. Just a few years later, my dad was diagnosed with a similar disease. It felt like my world had fallen apart. First my mom and now my dad. What had I done to deserve this? Nevertheless, we persisted. We've been through countless chemotherapy sessions, numerous family hospital visits, and too many more tear-filled nights when we thought it would never end. And we are still fighting, still struggling. But through both of these times, I learned the meaning of resiliency and not giving up. I learned who would stand by our side when the world came at us in full force, and I learned who I could look to and rely upon. For the most part, this was a learning experience. I learned that life won't always take it easy on you, and when you feel you at your most vulnerable, something will happen to prove you wrong. When you feel happiest, something may come along to yank it away. It is a constant series of ups and downs. You just have to learn to get through them. By this point, I know there are plenty of tears. At least from my family, we're criers. But I hope you still have some tissues left because this is the one that hits the hardest. The strength it takes some days to get out of bed and start the day is a struggle. But our class has been well known for its strength since we started school. Sure, we have state-ranked athletes out in this sea of people who are probably the definition of strength. But that's not the kind I want to talk about. The kind I want to discuss is harder, rougher, and meaner. Emotional and mental toughness. A year or so ago, I was gifted the honor of being a confidant to the owner of this story. We'll name them Lou. From all angles, Lou had a pretty normal life. They went to school, had quite a few friends, and acted like any other kid. They were popular, charming, vibrant, and so wickedly smart they would make you dizzy with the amount of knowledge they possessed. But isn't that how all of the nightmarish stories start? With a normal kid who's just trying to live their life. Yeah, it is, and this one is no different. In middle school, we start to figure out who we are. We move from holding mom and dad's hands everywhere to pretending like we don't know them when we're in the same room. We distance ourselves from some people and connect with others we hadn't known so well. It's also when we start to figure out our relationships. Who talks to whom, what so-and-so did at lunch, where Becky Joe and David Lee sat in the cafeteria. It's a good social experiment until it all goes sideways. Until you find a person you like so much, you trust even more, you find you do anything. You start hanging out and they get close with your family. They come over for dinner and you always manage to find some small way to touch. They stay late to watch a movie and there is always an accidental brush somewhere you weren't expecting. You sum these up as their way of showing affection, and they're constantly reassuring you of their love, so why would you think any differently? One night, this person decides to invite you over for a party in which your own family will be in attendance, so you assume it's a safe space. You get all dressed up and ready to go in your best-looking outfit, not showing too much, but just enough that you feel confident and ready to play your part. You show up to the party, and it's moving smoothly until you realize that it's getting harder to stand, and you feel a little dizzy when you walk. You think nothing of it and continue on until you stumble again just a few minutes later, and this person comes to help. They sweep you up and take you to the bedroom, but instead of leaving you there, they start to undress you. You think it's a little weird, but you don't say anything because you trust them. Suddenly, their hands are getting rougher and they start reaching places you don't want. You don't feel comfortable, so you start to struggle. You can't do much because you still feel heavy and slightly woozy, but you must be making it difficult because in just a short period of time, you feel the bite of a sharp blade against your stomach with the echo of a threat that if you continue moving, so will that knife. Now you're terrified out of your mind, and you struggle a bit more to try and get away. But the edges of your vision are turning black, and you're starting to lose consciousness. The last thing you remember thinking is, why me? You wake up the next morning thinking, no, hoping, it's just a bad dream. But when you move your lower half, everything hurts. You look down and you see the blood, you see the handprints, you see the dried up crap all over your chest, and you freeze. You don't know what to do. You're freaking out because you can't believe it's real. You know it happens because you've read so many stories like this, but you never thought it would happen to you. You didn't want to be just another voice in the crowd chanting, "Me too." Yet there you were, on a bed in the darkness, hoping you're mistaken, hoping it isn't real. A few minutes later, your cousin walks in and tells you to take a shower to get it all off. Not ever having been through this before and giving no other guidance, you walk to the shower and you wash away the only evidence you have of your sexual assaulter. You are driven down to the police station to give your statement and hope to God somebody down there believes you. You don't tell your parents because if they knew, they would be so disappointed. It's something you choose to keep to yourself because the moment you share it, you know you'll crack and break. You go to bed every night hoping it's your last, and you wake up every morning with the disappointment that you've made it to another day. You develop insomnia because when you close your eyes, you relive that scene over and over in your mind. You can't escape it. You never feel clean. It feels like nothing will ever go back to normal. And you're right, it won't. You now have to adjust to a new normal and find a reason to keep going. You will not allow your abuser any more conscious time in your life. You won't let them win. There are still so many more people out there who will be preyed upon by people like these, but you will be sure that by the end of the day, this one will not get away with anything more. So you want to talk about smarts? You want to talk about strength? You want to talk about resiliency? Valedictorian is just a fancy way of saying you were given the correct circumstances that led you to success, but it does not in the slightest recognize the best or the smartest, because those people are out here among this class of 2022 just living day to day and trying to keep their heads above water. Thank you.
Good evening. On behalf of class of 2022, I would like to thank all the people who made this possible. To the school board for getting students back into the classrooms as soon as possible following the shutdown by COVID. We thank you. To the administration for the long hours they put in, making sure that sporting events happened, that the school was running at peak performance, that no students were left behind. We thank you. To the custodial and maintenance teams for ensuring that school was kept clean, that there was no trash in the parking lot, that the fields and grass were kept in tip-top shape. We thank you. To the teachers for their dedication to the school, for working with us to ensure we are learning and successful in the classroom, for building relationships with students. We thank you. And to the parents for supporting us since the beginning, for the sacrifices you have made so that we may succeed. We thank you and we love you. And lastly, thank you to my brother for being my little wingman who always has my back, and to my mom, my rock, pushing me to my limits because she knows I'm capable of more. Without her, I would not be standing where I am today. I love you both so much. Earning the honor of being valedictorian is stressful, time-consuming, and even draining. Going into my senior year, I knew I was a front runner for this award, but I also knew that the work necessary to earn it was going to be draining and difficult. Little did I know just how difficult this year was going to be. On September 22nd, 2021, at 6:02 p.m., my father, Steve Duke, left this planet in peace. I remember before he passed, I promised him that I was going to do everything in my power to win valedictorian. I did this because nothing more in life brought my dad happiness than seeing his kids succeed. It was this promise that drove me to power through my senior year and succeed in all the classes that I took. The value that promise held is why I kept it. Our values are the only things that keep us connected with ourselves. Without them, we would simply disappear into society. So tonight, I'd ask not only my fellow classmates, but everyone here in attendance, not to drift away from your values, but instead to embrace them, as they are the shining light in your personality. As all of us graduates move on to the next stage in our life, keep your values with you, let them motivate you, drive you, represent you in all aspects of your upcoming future. Over the last 3 years, I've come to learn that life is not fair. You can do everything right in life and still get a crappy draw. So I'm asking you, my fellow classmates, not to give up on life. No matter how hard things get or how much you want to give up, don't, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It might not seem like it, but there is. I know this from a personal perspective. When I lost my father, it seemed like everything was lost. All I wanted to do was give up, not get out of bed. But thanks to my amazing friends and family, I've made it through the hard part, and I'm closing in on that light at the end of the tunnel. So just remember, when you feel like giving up, don't. Keep pushing, keep grinding, because things will get better. With that, I have one final message to leave with you guys before I leave the podium. This is to keep your friends and family close. Don't let them drift out of your life because of petty differences or grudges, because you need them and they need you. Keep them with you because the bonds you build are what keep you going in life, and life's not guaranteed. And they can be ripped from your arms with no explanation as to why in the blink of an eye. So do not hesitate to let them know what they mean to you. Give them a hug, tell them you love them, and just stay close, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce to you Assistant Principal Jason Ritter to recognize the class of 2022. Actually, I just lied. Jason, have a seat.
Well, we can do that.
Just wanted to give a shout out to Jason. I almost forgot our guest speaker.
It's okay.
What I've heard, Aaron, how long have you been at the high school?
This is year 9.
Year 9. In the 9 years that Aaron has been at Crook County High School, he's been asked to be the guest speaker multiple times, and he has said no. But he recognized and how persistent and annoying, no, how persistent and loyal these students have been to him, and he said yes. So Mr. Aaron Rosh is our guest speaker tonight. So Aaron, welcome to the stage.
Ooh, this thing's louder than I thought. Fisher must have upped his speaking fee because you guys had to settle with me this year, so I apologize for that. In many ways, the year of 2020 and 2021, which is the year that I had most of you in class, was one of the hardest years that I've ever had teaching. We didn't know if we were going to be in the building. We were on Google Classroom for a while. And most importantly, I only had you guys in class for like half a year. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I decided to actually do this speech this year. So I got to spend a little more time with you. One of the greatest things about this class is that it made me excited to come to school every day. I can see Josh nodding right now as I'm speaking. We formed great bonds right away. We had excellent memories, and I just made my speech a little bit longer just looking out into the sea of faces, and I'm going to try to keep it short. Oh, you can't hear me? Whoa, that's like in my face. This is one of the most fun classes that I've ever had the pleasure of teaching. My only regret was the short amount of time that I got to have with you. And with that, I'm pretty much going to take most of my time to tell some of my favorite stories that I had with this class. Again, I'm sorry, parents, but this is going to be a lot of inside jokes, mostly directed at you guys in the front. We have the celebration of my birthday in June, even though my birthday is in October. We have the awkward picture of me with my sweatshirt hood up that I still have posted in my room. The fact that I can still be smiling while teaching after telling Braden Duke and Tucker Bonner to be quiet for like the 20th time. You're still doing it right now as I'm speaking. Duke helping me clean off the stickers on my car when the senior graduating class put them all over my car, and we're trying to scramble to get them off there before the rain came. We were that close. Coaching soccer, if you could call it that, with my 6 seniors that made it possible for me to actually finish that season with the limited amount of knowledge that I had. Gates, buying me a Panda that will stay in my classroom forever. Conversations with Van and Daniel Olson about whatever. York giving me my note that will stay in the bottom of my desk throughout my teaching years. Coaching the girls' tennis team and winning the Madras tournament. Woo! Or sorry, woot. That's the correct way to put that. Several seniors join the tennis team, and you know who you are for the very first time their last year of playing. That's one of them. Good job. Meredith Cooper going to state where we got to have voodoo donuts and a hot chocolate named a tuxedo. Also, she had 3 separate senior nights, soccer and 2 for tennis. So, there we go. And I may have gotten like a little piece of dirt in my eye while I was doing the senior night for the seniors in tennis. Danny, tell me every single day without fail that I am bald. And I do mean every day. Liz saying hi to me in her own special way. And of course, my collection of inspirational quotes that were gathered through the course of 2 years that hopefully will be removed from the internet. The point I'm trying to make with all of these stories, which is just the tip of the iceberg, because again, I'm looking out into the crowd and I see several more out there. That Emma's about to cry. You got it, Emma? Of the great memories that we formed with this group. You are just fantastic, special people. And the star, underline, highlight. I get one more of this speech is that I want you all to remember how fun and full of life you are. I will miss seeing you around the building, but you will go out to the world and you will spread that joy and that spirit that is needed by so many people. You are interesting, you are different, and most importantly, you are fun. It's okay, Gates. There will be hard times in this life, but please never change who you are, because you are what we need. And this is the point when I was going to put on my toupee. But Papke never got it for me. Thank you so much. Rosh out.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. All right. Take 2. Jason Ritter, Assistant Principal at Crook County High School, is going to present the class of 2022.
For the first time in my life, I'm going to cut my words short. They give me the shortest part of the entire commencement for a reason. When I was speaking with my son, Caden, who's graduating with you tonight, the thematic nature of this class was apparent. And it's become something that's really apparent in the speeches here tonight. Pushing through, persevering through suffering, persevering through challenges. And so, in speaking with Caden, though, it brought about a quote that I think is really critical to live by, and it's something that many of you do already, obviously. But we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not put us to shame. And so, friends, family, and honored guests, it is with great hope and distinct pleasure that I now announce that the senior class of 2022 has met all of the graduation requirements for the state of Oregon and for Crook County School District. I am honored to recommend that the class of 2022 be issued diplomas, and I am pleased to introduce our school board members and Superintendent Dr. Sarah Johnson to issue those diplomas. Thank you.
Having met all the requirements for graduation from Crook County School District by the authority vested in me by the school board and the state of Oregon, I hereby confer and award the high school diplomas.
If ASB President and Class President Meredith Cooper and Braden Duke could come for the reading of the names.
They said we're doing it right here. I'm going to sit over here because I'm nervous about the order, so I'm going to be here to try to help them. I'm going to say a name. If I know a name and if you get confused, just smile and keep going. You got this, girl. All right. Abigail McNary. Tucker Bonner. Jenny McKinnon. Josephine Kasperger. Elizabeth McCall Woodward. Lindsay Mode. Kendall Maycutt. Daniel Olson. Allison Bass. Logan Webster. Nevaeh Tiger. Bryn Marie Hill. Jordan Strite. Drew Strite. Hannah Rose Reese. Justin Wilkins. Dakota Humphreys. Josh Knight.
Brooke Ward. Natalia Frolov. Bryn Anderson. Yeah. Brooklyn Hamlin. Emily Hernandez. Brody Vale. Gage Hansen. Mitch Warren. Victor Rodriguez. Lige Wood, McKinley Puckett, Elizabeth Moon, Telmo Buron, I'm sorry, Emma Neve Barnes, Grace May Brooks, Emma Lynn Bales, Natalie Stefanik, Emma Shea Daniels, Sophia Rose Langley, Maddie Jo Simmons.
Aurora Bell Duran, Jewel Kaylee Espinoza, Macy Shea Puckett, Charity Tomzoff, Ashley Nicole Munt, Easton Green, Alexandria Engel, Astrid Story, Kinsey Ramos, JJ Ramos, Mason Coffer, Caden York, Emily Stovall, Riley Secreta, Evangelina Lorenzano, Ingrid M. Quiros, Jaden Rochelle Bennett, Mallory Leanne Thompson, Riley Hodnut, Caden Madison,
Savannah Pence, Carly Raber, Jaylena Fisk, Marvea Reyes, Kaden Esparza, Alexis McVicker, Connor Boudre, Aiden Gillette, Nicole Hannah Uska de Pluglia, I'm so sorry. Brandon Zurcher, Rachel Gannis, Isabel Hacking, Cameron Whitney, Erica Bishop, Cassandra Lawrence, Danny Limberg, Ray Solis, Kyla Stefanik, Emily Cottrell, Gisela Batista,
Gladys Jolene Mendoza, Julissa Hernandez, Caitlin Marlowe, Brooklyn Ann Marie Sampson, Joseph Edgar Miller, Cameron Bruce, Jeffy Hernandez Vargas, Kevin Arroyo Covarrubias, Trent West, Ozzie Reed, Tyler Schlachter, Caden Westcott, Lily Lopez, Tiana Quinn, Seth Thayer, Mason Bush, McKenna Johnson, Savannah Jesse, Karen Meza, Kyler Michael,
Bailey Joe Everest, Scott Allen Deutschlander, Matt Weston, Matney Cooley, Harley Botham, Easton Perrin, Trennan Foglio, Rhett Kriege, Nicole Rivers, Tyson Meekum, Lauren Papke, Wyatt Wood, Carson Ostrander, Clay Halsey, Mason Puckett, Logan Ward, Cody Lash, Tiernan Durbin, Caden Warren Long, Kaylin Biggie.
Gabe Skinner, Bella Brittain Whitney, Max Brecky, Tristan Lockwood, Nathaniel Patrick, Viviana Vargas, Maritza Orozco, sorry. Oh. Giselle Gorosquieta, Storm Walker, Kyrie Willis, Jeffrey Martinez, Nicholas Katzenberger, Bailey Jays, Caitlin Schmitz, Tucker Mitchell, Wyatt Gray, Dominic Ingstrom, John Tenori, Jaid Romero, Ethan Brown,
Cole Haynes, Christian Taylor, Cole Calhoun, Benny Allen, Josiah Grooms, Joshua Neeram, Jonathan Noel, Emily Walters, Emma Kindred, Tristan Neeram, Catherine Gates, Jaden Hammock, Van Williams, Caitlin Davis. Madeline Gillen. Michael Cook. Anthony Spruth. Nathaniel Luttrell. Dylan Whale. Brenton Voss.
Kara Mankey. Bethany Kelso. Peyton Westlake. Aubrey Owens. Hannah Potomi. Kaylee Williams. Owen Grant. Caleb Bailey. Braden Bartlane. Elijah Wilson. Aiden Meredith. Isaiah Phillips. Josh Spurlock. Andrew Barrett. Anthony Allen. Seth Magner. Jacob Bass. James Bass.
Kennedy Robideau. Dakota Robideau. Jacob Van Leuven. Trayton Smalling. Haley Johnson. Jesse Wilson. Alyssa Dalton. Aiden Morton. Michael Perry II. Ryan Cole. Tristan Fisher. Shannon Reimer. Alexandra Canales. Madison Catrone. Lisbeth Gallegos Lopez. Raymond Aquino. Jasmine Hernandez. Susanna Hernandez. Did I get them? Were they? Susanna Hernandez. Elliot Wood. Marcus Reed.
Jaden McQueen. Cassie Wilson. Jaden Clendenin. Autumn Peterson. Ty Harms. Caden Ritter. Damon Long. Monica Roberts. Jordan Martinez. Mason Yost. Michael Marabi. Micah Halderman. Allison Clark. Niels Hansen. Victoria Bays. Kylie Kaler, Charlene Green, Taylor Coverdale, Tatum Kofelt, Joel Ramiro Vargas, Elsa Bettles, Rebecca Emmer, Alana Pacheco. Morgan Witten, and Grace Bauer.
Walk over here. Ross is going to call.
Oh, okay. Braden Duke. Meredith Cooper.
Graduates, I think I can speak for everyone present here today. It's been a pleasure to watch you grow and learn. I'm incredibly proud of how you finished your journey at Crook County School District and look forward to watching you thrive as young adults. There is a long-standing tradition of moving the tassel to symbolize you have completed high school. Class of 2022, you've successfully completed all graduation requirements of Crook County School District and the Oregon Department of Education. It is now time for you to move your tassel from the right to left. Families, friends, and the Crook County community, I'd like to present to you the class of 2022. Graduates, before you leave the stadium, after you see your family and friends, make your way under the stadium because that's where your diploma and scholarship information is. So after you greet your family, make your way to under the stadium to pick up your diploma.